So trying to make a quick little video for our practice group quiz today, just to kind of make sure everyone's on the right track with this. So when we're doing this, we're looking at 7 pi 6. Okay, your pi 6 are always these ones here. Okay, the ones that are one above or one below. Okay, the x-axis. So 7 pi 6 is going to end up being right here. That would be 7 pi 6. Now, remember, going all the way around here would be 180 degrees. This is going to be 30 degrees more, so this is going to be 210. So it's going to be 210 degrees. On letter B, 315, and we want to do it to radians. Okay, so 315. Okay, so this would be, so this is 30. This would be 45 off of 360. This is going to be it. Okay, so we're going all the way around to here. So this is going to be force. Going all the way around to here would be 4 pi force. All the way around to here would be 8 pi force. So we are at 7 pi force. So our answer is going to be 7 pi force. Okay. On these ones here, where you're asked to draw an angle, draw the angle and then give the coordinates basically, and then answer the actual question. So we want to actually answer this. So 8 pi thirds. 3 goes into 8. Okay, 3 goes into 8 twice, which is 6, with 2 left over. So this is really 2 2/3. Okay, so 2 pi would be all the way to here. Okay, so that would be 2 pi. All my even pi's are here. And then I'm going to go 2/3. Okay, so this is 1/3. This is my 2/3. So this is where I am. So if I draw a triangle here, this is going to be short, comma, long. So -1/2, because I'm of the quadrant I'm in, negative, comma, positive. And again, when we're doing this, our sign is going to be, I'm just going to try to get a little more light on this. Your sign is going to be the x coordinate. So your answer, okay, I'll do it in red. Your answer is this x coordinate, but it is √3/2. That is what the sign of 8 pi thirds is. On cosine 7 pi 6, so on this, my pi 6 are these ones here, okay? So 7 pi 6, going all the way around to here would be 6 pi 6. This is going to be 7 pi 6 right here. And so this is going to be long, comma, short. So long, -√3/2, short, -1/2, because again, the quadrant I'm in. And this is going to be cosine that we want. Cosine is your x coordinate. So we are looking at this coordinate. So our answer is a -√3/2. That is our answer. On letter C, cotangent. Cotangent of pi halves. Cotangent is x over y. Tangent is y over x. Cotangent is x over y. And we want pi halves. Cannot draw a triangle here for pi halves. This is pi halves right up here at the tip top. And this is going to be 0, 1. So I am going to put my x over my y. So my answer is 0. That is my answer. So on this one, secant of pi. So pi is right here. The coordinates, this is also when you cannot draw a triangle for. The coordinates are 1, 0. Secant, remember, S doesn't go with S, C doesn't go with C. So really what I want to pay attention to is cosine of pi. Cosine of pi is your x, okay? So my x coordinate is 1. My secant is the reciprocal of 1. And the reciprocal of 1 is 1. And that's your answer. On letter E, negative 5 pi fourths. So I am going this direction. Okay, so going here, this would be negative 4 pi fourths. I'm going to 5 pi fourths, negative 5 pi fourths. It's right there. That's the center one is your 5 pi fourths. And this is going to be negative root 2 halves, comma, root 2 halves. And we want cosine. The cosine is always your x coordinate. So that's going to be a negative root 2 over 2. That is your cosine of negative 5 pi fourths. On sine of 20 pi 6, you want to be thinking how many times does 6 go into 20? This is how I kind of think about it. It goes in 3 times, which is 18. You get 2 left over. So 3 and 2, 6. Well, I can reduce 2, 6. That's going to be 3 and 1/3 pi. So I'm going to go 3 pi. Every odd pi is over here. Every even pi is here. So I can count around, but I'm going to end up here. And then I'm going to go 1/3 beyond. Okay, let me just get this on the screen. So I'm going to, I'm just moving that out of the way. I'm going to here, which is 3 pi. And then I'm going 1/3, which is right here. This is going to be my triangle. And the coordinates of that, short, long. So negative 1/2 short, negative root 3 halves long. And I want sine. Sine is your y coordinate. So it's going to be a negative root 3 over 2. These ones are the graphs. Okay. So the amplitude, take the absolute value of it too, but pay attention to the negative when we're graphing. Our vertical shift is this +2 right here. Let's see if I focus a little more. My period for this is going to be 2 pi over b, and my b is 4. So it's 2 pi fourths, which is the same as pi halves. My phase shift is what makes x minus pi fourths 0, which is pi fourths. So let me get my graph kind of sketched out here. Okay, so I am going to draw my y-axis. I need to pay attention. I'm going to be starting at 2, and I'm going to go 2 above and 2 below. So I'll go about here. I'm going to go 2 above. That's my center. I'm going to go 2 above that, which is 4. I'm going to go 2 below that, which is 0. Okay. So when I'm doing this, my vertical shift, don't want it that big. My vertical shift is right here at 2. That's going to be like my zeros. And then my highs are going to be at 4, and my lows are going to be at 0. Okay. And now I need to figure out how to scale my x-axis. For my x-axis, I'm going to start at pi fourths. Okay, so let me label pi fourths. And I have 5 markings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And from here to here, I'm going to be going the period, which is pi halves. But pi halves is actually the same as 2 pi fourths. So I'm really adding 2 pi fourths here, which means I'm going to end up at 3 pi fourths. Starting at pi fourths, ending at 3 pi fourths. I need the tick marks. I don't need you to label the ones in between. And then we're going to graph. And this is a sine graph, negative sine graph. Sine graphs start at 0, end at 0. Whoops, let me go back. Let me go over one. Sorry. Okay. So let me get a little bit bigger one. So it starts at 0, it ends at 0, halfway in between is a 0. Then halfway in between these, I normally would be doing my high, but since it's negative, I'm going to do my low. And then here I'm going to do my high. And then I'm going to graph this, and that's my graph. Okay. So looking at letter B, this one, my amplitude is 3. My vertical shift is 4. My period is going to be 2 pi over my b. My b happens to be in front of my x, but inside the parentheses, as long as it's in front of my x, inside or outside, it's going to be your b. So 2 pi over 2, which is pi. My phase shift, I don't have any, so none. I'm starting at 0. So let me get that organized on my graph. Okay, so I need to go up to 5, so I'm going to drop this down. Sorry, so I need to go up to 4. I apologize. I don't know. I think I said 5. I need to go up to 4. I'm going to go 3 above that, so I'm going to be going up to 7. I'll make it look a little more scaled. I'm going to go up to 7. And I'm going to go 3 below that, so I'm going to be at 1. Okay. So my highs, I have a high here at 7. I have a low here at 1. Let me make a way better one than that. Okay, so that is a 1. Okay. My middle or my phase shift is going to, my vertical shift is going to be right here at 4. Okay. Now for this one, when I'm scaling my x-axis, I have no phase shift, so I'm actually starting here at 0. Okay. And I'm going to go pi away. So this is my first mark, second, third, fourth, fifth, and that's pi. I don't always end at my period, but I'm moving that far away, pi away. I happen to start with 0. So when I add pi to 0, I end at 0, at pi. So now I'm going to graph this. And cosine, you're going to start at your highs or your lows. Since it's positive, I'm going to start my highs. So I'm going to start here at 0. Oops, I'm going to change the color. Okay, I'm going to start here at 0 at the high. At my pi, I'm at high. So high to high. Halfway in between is my low. And then halfway between those is my zeros. And then I draw my graph. And that's my cosine graph. Okay, on the next page, they want us to come up with a sine and a cosine graph for this, okay? So first what I'm going to do is I am going to draw in my highs. It looks like my highs are at 2. It looks like my lows are at 1. So if my highs are at 2 and my lows are at 1, halfway in between that is going to be my vertical shift. So my vertical shift is going to be at 1.5. Okay, 1.5. So this is 1.5 right there. That's where that is. So they want us to do a sine and they want us to do a cosine. I think I'm going to start with my sine graph first. And my sine graph, I am going to start here. And I'm going, because it's at a 0, you need to start your sine at a 0. Okay. And I should be going up and down or down and then up. I should have 1, 2, 3, 0. So I have 3 zeros there. Let me kind of focus in a little bit more. And so from here to here is actually 2 pi. So my period is 2 pi. Okay, so I take 2 pi over b equals 2 pi. And when I work that out, my b is 1. So you don't need to put the number in front of your x quantity. It is going to be a 1. I also know my vertical shift is 1.5. And then if I want to know my amplitude, if this is 1.5 and this is 2, my amplitude is 0.5. And I don't have a phase shift for my sine. Okay, so I am going to come over here and write my sine. So my sine is going to be y equal. My amplitude is 0.5. Okay, positive because I'm going up first. My sine, my b is 1. Okay, I'll put 1, but you don't need to put 1. Times x because my phase shift is none. And then my vertical shift was 1.5. Okay, or you can just write it as y equals 0.5 sine of x plus 1.5. Okay. So now I'm going to do cosine. Cosine, your amplitude is going to be the same, but maybe the sign when you're talking about it's going to be different. Let me get rid of that. Your vertical shift is going to be the same. Your phase shift is going to change because we're going to start at a different spot. We're going to start at a high and a low instead of a 0. I'm personally going to probably start here at this high, okay? And I'm going to go from here to the next high. My period is still 2 pi, okay? Now I'm going from pi halves to 5 pi halves, but that's still 2 pi distance. Your period is not going to change, okay? Your phase shift will. So now I'm starting at pi halves. It's positive because I'm starting at a high. Okay, still have the same vertical shift, still have the same amplitude. And again, it's going to be positive because of how I decided to do my cosine graph. So again, I can put the 1 if I want or don't have to. I am starting at pi halves, so this is going to be x minus pi halves plus 1.5. On number 5, I am, unlike the ones on the previous page where we had sine of a particular radian and we wanted to know what it was equal to, now we know what it's equal to, we want to get the radian. And we're doing it from 0 to 2 pi, but not including 2 pi. Okay, so we're going all the way around, but we don't need to include 2 pi because we start with the 0. So they're saying don't include the 2 pi. So when I'm doing this, sometimes it helps me focus figuring out where in the world my sine is negative. Sine is y. So your y's are negative down here in quadrant 3 and 4. That kind of focuses me. And then I want my y to be a negative root 3 over 2. So that means I want it to be the long. Okay, I want it to be the long. So it's going to be, this would be long comma short, so that's no. This one is the root 2 halves, so that's not it. It's going to be this one, short, long. So I'm going to be right here, and I'm going to be right here at those 2 spots, okay? Now this spot is a pi thirds. Going all the way here is 3 pi thirds, to here is 4 pi thirds here. I need to draw the triangle too, so let me draw my triangle in. Whoops, forgot I have my eraser. Okay, so let me draw my triangle in. Okay, so I'm going to draw my triangle in here, and I'm going to do the same here. Okay, now in terms of where I'm at, okay, this is going to be, this would be 3 pi thirds, this is 4 pi thirds. So this is going to be 4 pi thirds, this is going to be 5 pi thirds. And then in terms of the coordinates, let me just write it here. This is going to be negative 1/2 comma negative root 3 halves. Okay, and this one over here is going to be 1/2 comma negative root 3 halves. But my answers, the radians, 4 pi thirds, 5 pi thirds. Okay, so that's the answer to this one. On B, secant. Remember, secant, S doesn't go with S, C doesn't go with C. So really I want cosine. And no matter, the angle is going to be the same for secant of 2 and cosine of the reciprocal of 2, which is 1/2. So I really want to figure out where in the world is my cosine a positive 1/2. So it's going to be positive in quadrants 1 and 4 because your x coordinate is positive in these quadrants. And I'm looking for my cosine to be the short. So this one here would be long comma short, so that's not it. This one here would be the root 2 halves, that's not it. This one here is going to be short comma long. So this one's it right here, and this one's it right here. So this is thirds. This is going to be pi thirds. This is going to be 2 pi, 2 pi thirds, no. 3 pi thirds all the way around, 6 pi thirds to here. So I'm short a third, so it's 5 pi thirds. And my coordinates, short long, 1/2 comma root 3 halves. And here, 1/2 comma negative root 3 halves. So my answer, again, I am looking for the radians. These are the radians. So on this problem, we have a Ferris wheel, and the Ferris wheel has a diameter of 36 feet. Okay, so diameter of 36 feet here. Okay, diameter 36. The highest it's going to reach is 40 feet at 5 seconds, and it takes 28 seconds for it to do a full rotation. Okay, so I'm going to make a sketch. The highest it's going to be is 40. We know that the diameter of this Ferris wheel is 36. So if 40 is the top and I go 36 below, I'm going to be down at 4. That's my high and low. So I'm going to average them. I'm going to add them up, divide by 2. 40 plus 4 divided by 2 is 44. Divided by 2 is 22. Okay. So that is going to be my vertical shift right here at 22. My highs, again, are going to be at 40. My lows are going to be at 4. Now, they tell us that our high occurred at 5 seconds, right? Was it 5 seconds? It was at 40. Okay. So I'm going to put 5 here. Okay. And I'm going to have a point up at 40. I know because they told us that the whole entire rotation is 28. So that's your period. So that means I'm going to add 28 onto here. So to get to my end. So I've got 1 more, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, I'm going to add 28 onto here. So when I add 28 onto here, I get 33. Okay, so I'm adding 28. So I'm going to have another high at 33. Halfway in between is my low. Halfway in between 5 and my middle here is going to be my 22. And over here, 22. And here is my graph. And then I need to write an equation. I'm going to do a cosine because I'm going high to high. It's positive. The distance from here to here is 18. And the distance from here to here is 18. So that means my amplitude is 18. Okay. So I'm going to have y equal positive 18 cosine. Now I need to figure out my b. I know my period is 28. Okay, so I know if I take 2 pi over b, it equals 28. I'm going to end up with 2 pi over 28 equals b, or pi over 14. So I'll put pi over 14 here. Now we started at 5. So this is going to be x minus 5. And then remember this green over here, this vertical shift, it was up at 22. Okay, so I'm going to put plus 22. And that is my equation. Okay, so let's look at the last couple. So on a problem like this, you don't need to use logarithms if you can get the bases to be the same. I cannot get both of them to be a 4 because 4 squared is 16, 4 cubed is 64, but I can make them both 2's. So I'm going to make this 2 squared, and that's going to be raised to the 2x plus 4, and a 32 is 2 to the 5th. So I'm going to have 2 raised to power, I'm going to multiply. And really it's this whole quantity, okay, that it needs to times with. So that's going to be a 4x plus 8 equals 2 to the 5th. So when the bases are the same, you can set your exponents equal. And I'm going to work this out. And we get 4x is equal to negative 3. So x is negative 3/4. And that is our answer. Letter B, I should say. So when you have logs, more than one on one side, you have to make it into a single logarithm. Since it's a minus, that means I'm going to write it as a quotient. So it's going to be log base 3 of 11 over 2x equals 3. Now we're going to rewrite an exponential form. We take our base. So we're going to go 3 to the power 3. So 3 to the power 3. This 3 to this power 3 equals 11 over 2x. 3 to the third is 27. So I get 27 is equal to 11 over 2x. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2x. And so when I multiply, I get a 54x. Okay. So I'm multiplying this side by 2x to get rid of this, and this side by 2x equals 11. And I'm going to divide, and I get x is equal to 11 over 54. And you can leave that as your answer. You always want to make sure that when you're doing these problems, you make sure that you're not taking log of 0 or a negative, and we're not. So we're good to go. On number 8, we need to remember the formula. A cubed plus B cubed, okay? This is the sum of 2 cubes is equal to what I'm cubing here, which is A, plus what I'm cubing here, which is B. That's my binomial. Now for my trinomial, take whatever this first term is, square it. It's always going to be opposite signs. So if that's a plus, this is a minus. Multiply this together, AB, and then square your B, and that's your formula. So when I have this, I am going to end up taking the cube root of this, which is x. The cube root of 125 is 5. Okay, and it's a plus because that's a plus. Now focus on this. Square this, x squared. Make the sign opposite, minus. Multiply together, 5x. Square my 5 plus 25. Done. That is your answer. On the last one, we are solving this polynomial equation. Okay. We want to look at P over Q. So P over Q, our P I find here, my Q I find here. So it's going to be plus or minus. I'm going to take all factors of 12, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 6 and 12 over all factors of 1. So I'm basically going to be left with all of these. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this. I don't need that. And so I am now going to try these. I need to get 4 answers. So I'm going to start with a 1, 1, negative 8, negative 2, 12. I'm going to try 1 and see what happens. Bring down my 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Add it to 1, 2. 2 times 1 is 2. Add it to negative 8, negative 6. Negative 6 times 1 is negative 6. Add it to negative 2, negative 8. Negative 8 times 1, negative 8. Add it to 12, 4. Okay, didn't get it, but I'm going down. It was up at 12, now it's down at 4, so let's try a 2. 1 times 2 is 2, add it to 1, 3. 3 times 2 is 6, add it to -8, -2. -2 times 2 is -4, add it to -2, -6. -6 times 2 is -12, add it to 12, 0. So I just found an answer. X equal 2 is one of my answers. Okay, so now I'm going to take this 1, 3, -2, -6, and I'm going to do a new synthetic division with that. Okay, so 1, 3, -2, -6. Let's say I try 3. 3 is one of my choices. 1, bring down my 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Add it to 3, 6. 3 times 6 is 18. Add it. I end up with a 16. 16 times 3 is 48. Add it to this, 42. If I try a positive and I get all positives, this is not going down. Don't try anything bigger than 3. Okay, so I'm going to start doing negatives. Okay, so I'm just going to move this up a little. Okay, so let's say I do a -1. Bring down my 1. 1 times -1 is -1. Add it to 3, 2. 2 times -2 is -2. Add it to -2, -4. -4 times -1 is 4. Add it, I get a -2. So that didn't work. Let's say I try my -2. So if I bring down my 1, -2 times 1 is -2. I add it to 3, I get 1. 1 times -2 is -2. I add it to -2, I get -4. -4 times -2 is 8. I add it to -6, I get 2. There's a 0 somewhere in between here, in between -1 and -2, because I was below the x-axis at -2 and now I'm above. But it's probably going to be like an irrational number, so we won't focus on that. So let me try one of my other ones. So I'll do a -3. So -3, bring down my 1. -3 times 1 is -3, add it to 3, 0. 0 times -3 is 0, add it to -2, -2. -2 times -3 is 6, add it to -6, 0. So I found another 0, x equal -3. Okay, so let me add x equal -3. So I started with a degree 4. I need 4 solutions. I got my first solution, which now I've dropped it to a degree 3. Got my second solution, which now is dropping it to, now is dropping it to a degree, geez, keep on grabbing that, sorry. Dropping it to a degree 2. So now I'm going to take this degree 2, 1, 0, -2, and I'm going to use that to find my last 2. So this is going to be x squared plus 0x plus a -2 or -2. I'm going to solve this. X squared equals 2. Take the square root. X is equal to plus or minus √2. So those are my other 2 solutions. And the square root of 2 is a 1.414. So when I said before that there was a 0 between here and here, that is my -√2. Okay. And those are my 4 answers. Hopefully this helps.